The National Security Minister pledged to continue to vote against the coalition in the Knesset. Last week, the Prime Minister was forced to leave his hospital bed against his doctor's wishes days after having prostate surgery to cast his vote, while Bismuth had to interrupt the Shiva, the 7-day mourning period for his late mother. Ben Gvir has been voting against the coalition over his demand for a larger budget for the police force. Now, in the latest development, the coalition whip, Ophir Katz, has announced that legislation sponsored by the far-right Jewish Power Party will be removed from the Knesset agenda as the party vows to keep voting against the government. Now for more, we welcome to studio Boaz Bismuth, Member of Parliament from the Likud Party. And I want to start by wishing you long life on the loss of your mother. We really appreciate you being here. We've been thinking of you, the nation, thinking of you at your time of loss. Itamar Ben Gvir apologizes. Benjamin Netanyahu gets out of a hospital bed to come for this vote. You are sitting Shiva, a mourning period for your mother, and you come for the vote. What a shambles. What did it feel like? What do you make of it?
So let's start with the end. I mean, the apology was accepted immediately. You know, politics, when you do politics, it's nothing personal. We still have objectives. I mean, Israel is still at war. Don't forget, we're winning the war, but we did not win the war yet. Hostages are not back. I mean, still, we have a lot of things to do, and this is why we need stability in the coalition. But yet, I would say that Itamar Ben Gvir has to make the decision, meaning, I mean, we have in the parliament, as you know, usually in parliaments, you've got opposition and coalition. But usually a coalition is a coalition. You don't need an opposition and coalition when you have an opposition already.
Exactly.
And that is why he has to make his choice. Yesterday, when he made his apologize, I was a bit surprised of him saying that he can do it again. I mean, in order to protect the demands or the request for the policeman. Today it's a policeman, it can be tomorrow something else. And I would expect him to act as a partner and not as an opposition again. Now, concerning that day, last Tuesday, I would say that you've got, even in politics, also in politics, you should have red lines. And I think red lines were crossed. I think that Israel society detested what they saw. I saw the, how would I say, the reaction of the people in the street. I mean, whether they're left, right, orthodox, secular, whatever. I mean, everyone did not like what they saw. I think that Itamar understood that that was a big, big mistake. And I can tell you that I saw Prime Minister at least 3 times from very near on Tuesday. I mean, the surgery he had was only, I mean, not a day, I think, a day before. This is something, I mean, that in English, I think you say, it's not done. You don't do what he has done. And again, I would say, apologize accepted, yet I would expect him not to be an opposition in the coalition.
Yet he says he'll still keep voting against the coalition. What kind of apology is that?
Exactly, that's what I said. I mean, yesterday when I was asked about his tweet or his post, I think it was a bit odd because you don't apologize, and then apology with a threat is a bit. It's another Jewish invention.
In different types of companies, businesses, governments, someone might be fired. But we're going to leave it there.
We need stability right now, and I expect him. I mean, you know, usually people in politics, they say something, but they act differently. I think that he understands also that even the ones that voted, his voters, totally disliked what he did.
And certainly not a good look from the prism abroad either. I want to turn to something you've already mentioned, and obviously it's top of mind for everybody. 100 hostages remain in captivity. Obviously, you've seen the video of Liri Elbag. Heartbreaking to see that message and to know her family is calling for this deal. We know David Barnea is expected to go to Qatar tomorrow, but realistically, what kind of message would you want to give to the families waiting for answers? When is a deal going to happen?
So they should know, I mean, they have to know, and first of all, I mean, that there will not be, not only, you know, winning the war, this is obvious, I mean, it's one of the objectives of the war, bringing back the hostages, all the hostages. But it's not only that, I mean, Israel will not recover, Israel society will not recover if the hostages are not back. This is, I mean, I always say that even when they'll come back for many, many years, for decades, we shall carry with us a bleeding scar. But this is something that has to be done. This is one. 2, as a member of the Security Foreign Affairs Committee, I meet, you know, a lot of officials, very high ranked in the security army and all those people. And what I can guarantee them, that the price Israel is ready to pay is very, very high. And why do I say that? Because you know all those news that Israel is not ready to go very far. Even Mr. Blinken, the Secretary of State, has said for the New York Times today that Hamas is the responsible, not Israel. But I also believe that the less we talk and the more we do is better, because Hamas is watching us. And he's using it. They're cruel. What we saw yesterday with Lir El-Mag was heartbreaking. I finished the Kaddish for my mother for the Arvit prayer. First thing I saw was the sign of life of Liri, and this girl has to come back alive. Again, has to come back and alive.
I think the whole nation would agree with you on that. One of the sticking points, and it's something that we were discussing here in studio a little bit earlier, is questions about the day after. Who is going to be in charge of Gaza the day after? Is it the Palestinian Authority, a revitalized one, a reinvigorated one, the term used earlier on in the war by the US? Is it Hamas, but a disarmed version of Hamas, as certain reports? My colleague Ariel Osaran had spoken to sources suggesting that maybe something Israel was willing to look at if there were mechanisms to make sure that Hamas couldn't rearm. What is your sense? What does it look like the day after this war?
Speaking a lot with the Prime Minister concerning the day after, in the last months, I don't think that this is something that will be accepted, not only by us, by the government, but also by the Israeli people, by the nation. Hamas will not in any way, not only govern, control, or act, or have any saying in Gaza the day after. And that would only remind you that if you speak to Israelis, they're still shocked that maybe this is one of our, how would I say, it's not a very big success for us, even a failure, you can say the word. The fact that still Hamas is distributing humanitarian aid in some parts of Gaza, this is something that Israelis have a lot of difficulties in accepting. So the day after, Hamas will not be there. By the way, the objectives of the war, dismantle Hamas, not Hezbollah, let me remind you. So this is why, it will be a failure. It will be, how would I say, it's an objective to dismantle Hamas, and Hamas will not have any capacity in Gaza, not only military, but also controlling the society, in any way. So if they live this dream, I think that Israel will not accept. What I would say the day after possibility, I think with you in a loud voice, possibility would be Palestinians. We have nothing against people who live in Gaza, and I don't think that it will be so difficult. I don't think that it's so hard to demand or to ask or to expect among Gazawi people, some who are, what I say, who don't support terrorism, who are not corrupted. Is it possible to expect such a thing? I think it will be possible to find those people. And by the way, on the 14th of March last year, we did find those Hamule, as they call it, those big families, and they were immediately killed by Hamas. So in order to be able to construct, to build something the day after, you need to eliminate Hamas, if not physically all of them, at least the way of controlling or governing. And as I said again, humanitarian aid should be the objective right now. Second thing, countries, the Abraham Accord have something to do with it, and the peace treaty with Egypt. I'll take three. 1979, Egypt, proximity to Gaza. And then Egypt, with the fact that they're close, and police action. I take Saudi Arabia with the money. I think of the Emirates with the imagination. I take Donald Trump in the White House with the desire. And we can do something. Maybe the future will be different. And if you allow me just one sentence, for years we spoke of a new Middle East. The fact is, we wanted a new Middle East with terrorists. We shall give them a Nobel Prize, Arafat, and everybody's happy and everybody's good, everybody's kind. This time, terrorists you kill, and then you make peace.
How does Donald Trump coming into power, sitting in the Oval Office on the 20th of this month, change all of this? Does it speed things up? Does it help get the hostages home? He's already made threats, but nothing has come of it yet. How do you see it all impacting developments here in the Middle East?
Concerning Donald Trump, it is, he's the first president ever since Cleveland, that was lost and come back. So we can judge according to what he has done. And when he was here, first of all, you had no wars. We give him credit. There were no wars during the 4 years of Donald Trump, and you had come 4 peace treaties. Even more than that. Peace treaties. A peace treaty can be a cold peace. Normalization is a warm peace. It's not, you're not the mistress, you're the wife. This is something that was totally new and important. And by the way, with the Abraham Accords, we can see also how the relationship with Jordan and Egypt evolved. So I think that him coming back, I think, and his desire to solve problems, I think, and Donald Trump or President Trump or coming President Trump does not like conflicts. I mean, let's be honest, he does not like conflicts, and it's a good thing. And in order not to have a conflict, you need to have deterrence. And I do believe that Israel, after the 7th of October, after winning the war, and as I said again, we are winning, we did not win yet. We are winning, we did not win. But I think that after that, we shall have deterrence. And yes, we shall have a new Middle East. We're painting right now a new Middle East. We're painting or drawing it as you wish. But in order to do that, you need to finish the war and to eliminate the enemies. And that's exactly what Israel is doing. This is why it takes so long.